While I was at the thrift store the other day looking for blue striped shirts to work on my quilt, I found this gorgeous shirt. This is a man's shirt, size medium, and it had a 75% off tag. So I paid $2 Canadian for this, which is about $1.50 American, around there, in that, maybe a little less, $1.40. I'm not going to use this for a quilt, although I did make absolute certain that it said it was 100% cotton. It's been washed, and I'm going to deconstruct this and make a fabric covered box for storage. I love the paisleys in here, and these little blue, they look almost like blueberries, don't they? Very pretty. You do find very pretty patterns, small patterns in the men's shirts. Not necessarily very feminine, but awful pretty. So I'm going to deconstruct this. I will remove the buttons and put them in the jar, of course. And yeah, here's the red tag. It was $2. Put that in the jar too. And then I'm going to iron all of this, come back, and I'm going to make a covered cardboard box, and it's going to have a lid. All right, let's get started on this box. So I need to prepare the box first. This is an Amazon shipment, number 10 box. So I think that's 9 by 6. Let's just double check that. So 9 by 6, and I think it's about 3 1/4 inches tall. So the first thing I'm going to do is open it up. And I'm going to cut off the top flaps. And I'm going to cut them right there where there's a notch. So we'll go from notch to notch, I guess. Whoop, where you going, Nance? Now, I have a piece of packing paper here that came in an Amazon box. Just gonna tear up this. And I'm going to cover the box with paper. I think I'm going to use a mushy glue stick. And the reason I'm covering it with paper is so that I mean, it doesn't have to be done if you're using a darker fabric, but I'm using one with a very light background, so I don't want any of these like UPC symbols and arrows and things showing through. I'm just doing 1/4 at a time because you have to allow for the bend. And I'm not going down on the bottom because, again, you have to allow for that bend or it's just going to tear open. Not super concerned with how neat it is. Yeah, this is a mushy glow stick. That's a flat Nancy. Okay. Now, I'm going to glue this, or not glue this, but put this box back together. And I'm going to endeavor to take this tape right off here, cut it right. Oops. No, I'm doing it again. So in order to get this square, I need some packing tape. Huh. Well, I don't have any packing tape with me, so we'll just use some Scotch tape for now. I had sent sent a message to the family chat thread and said, if you have any small boxes, save them for me. And of course, Andrea, Victoria, said, oh, I got lots of boxes, come get them. I'm just going to wrap this neatly. And then glue it down. One more. Okay. I need to put something here to build up that center. So that's just shy of 3 1/8. How big are you? You're 3. You might work. I think it's safe to say that it's 6. Take off some of that raggedy tape. Okay, I'm just going to glue this flap down. And then that one. Okay. Now, time to cut some fabric. Let's do some measuring. So this is 3 and just about 1/8. So I'm going to double that. That's 6 1/4. And then add about 1 inch. So that's, well, it's 7 1/4, but let's call it 7. So I need some 7-inch strips. Now, let's see what we have to work with, because I did already cut into this. So I'll use that piece to cover the top. I think I can use that for the inside bottom, I mean. And here's the back. So am I going to get 7 1/4 out of this? I sure am. Let me find a lid for this before I make a real mess. Just gonna find the center, give it a little snip and tear it so that I'll find the straight of grain. And I'll lay these two together. Right sides to right sides. Make it a little easier for me to cut if I good enough. I don't know if you can see this. This was a fitted shirt, so it had some darts in the back, but I just plucked those threads out and removed the dart, pressed it. Just give me a little extra. I'm going to go with 7.5 because it looks like I can get 7.5 out of this. Square up that end and pin it together so I can stitch that. And then on this end, I'll square up one end, because the other part I can cut some off, because this is going to be definitely way longer than I need it to be. So I'll square off that end and pull some more threads. I'm just going to turn this over, oh, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Give it a little finger press. I'm going to go over to my machine now and I will top stitch this edge. You don't have to do any sewing. You can leave it just glued like that, and leave one of these raw and do the next one glue an edge just to cover up the raw. You can for sure do this without sewing, but I have a sewing machine and it's all set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Next up, I'm going to draw a line that's equal to the depth of the box from the inside. So it's inside, it's 3 inches. So I'm going to just draw a line. This doesn't have to be a finished edge, and in any case, we're not going to see it because another piece, the bottom of the box will go on top. So the raw edge won't show. The next step is going to be gluey. Okay. All right. So if you want this sewn edge to be right on the edge of the box, then don't put any glue here, because once I have this all glued on, I'll want to put the raw edge under and then this on top. Honestly, it doesn't matter where this finished edge is, and I'm not going to be particularly concerned about it. I'm just going to start gluing. So this is the piece that will get tucked in. So I'm going to put some glue on the outer box. I'm just using glue stick. And I'm just matching the edge of the box up with that pencil line. And then there's a little overhang here that will get pulled over. Get some glue on this one. Okay. Just checking to make sure it's nice and flat, no wrinkles. One more side. And then I'm going to put some glue here, but I'm also going to use some fabric glue for the very, very edge. those down. And I will glue the bottom neatly. Try to get some glue inside there, inside those folds. I'm trying to pull a loose thread out. There we go. Okay, now for the inside of the box. I'm going to apply glue inside and neatly fold the fabric over. Pushing it right into the corners and make sure it's nice and neat and taut across that top. Might even grab a bone folder. Oh, there it is. Just to make sure I get that pressed right into the corners. What, silly Nancy? You didn't put glue here. Ugh. Silly girl. Well, that just turned out better than I thought. Now, I'm going to cut another lining piece of cardboard to push in here. So I have this box. It's got lots of big flat sides. Came from a cake pan, it says. Okay. So the inside measurements were 6 by 9. So I'm going to cut this like, let's go 5 7/8. And then instead of 9, do 8 7/8. Okay. This is a little piece of leftover. This is a piece of that 7.5 inch strip that I cut off. This will be just fine. So I'm going to start by putting glue stick on the top level. Yeah, you may have noticed that there's a couple of dents on the bottom, so I don't want that to be the showing side. Not, you know, not that I'm a perfectionist or anything, but if you have the choice between pretty perfect and maybe not so much, then why not? I am going to cut a little bit of, before I start flipping that around, cut a little bit of bulk out. I want it to be able to come around, wrap around that corner. So I got to be careful not to cut too close. All these threads are sticking to me because I'm so gluey. Ah. All right. That's nice and neat. It's just going to slide right in there. I'm going to glue that down. Why not? If I had something heavy, I would put that in there. A brick would be good if I had one, but I don't. Okay, now we're going to work on the lid. The lid is just going to flip up and down. So, let's grab that other piece of cardboard. Again, I'm going to square this up. Now, before I start cutting anything, let's get it on the right mark. Now, when I was cutting the lining for the bottom, I was measuring the inside of the box, not the outside. So this time, I'm measuring the outside of the box. So from the outside, we have 6 1/4 by just about 9 1/4. So I'm going to cut this 1/8 of an inch wider. So 6 1/4 plus 1/8 is 6 3/8. And then I want to add, it was 9 1/4. Let's try it one more time, Nancy. Measure twice. Yeah, about 9 3/16. So we'll call it 9 1/4. And I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch to either edge. So that will be 9 1/2. But I'm actually going to take off that additional 1/16 of an inch because it would break my mind not to. I'm going to wrap this up. wrapping this with paper gives a nicer edge to the corrugated end. I'm just going to take out some bulk. I dreamed and dreamed and dreamed that I was thrifting last night. I was trying to make deals. It was really bizarre. There we go. Get up there, you. Okay, I didn't need to make it that difficult for myself. Okay. Whew. All right, you stick down. Don't want any wrinkles. I'm worried that might show through. I might need to put another piece of paper over that. What do you think? Just one. I'll just do another one, just to be safe. Ta-da! All right. Next up, I'm going to wrap this in fabric. Ugh. Just taking some of the bulk out, squaring it up. applying glue. Cut out some of the bulk, but again, I want enough to flip over that corner. Put a little glue in the corner. That way. I can make it really fitting, form fitting on that corner. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I am going to cover this again, but first I want to add the hinges to the box because, like I said, it's going to be like that and then boop. So I have a couple of options. I can either use some ribbon. Seems to be bowing out a bit. Let's square you up. I can use ribbon, or I can make some hinges out of fabric. I think I'm going to see if I have some like dark blue, well, not dark blue, but you know, this sort of blue ribbon, and if I don't, then we will be making hinges out of leftover fabric. So let me have a look. I've cut a piece of file folder, just slightly smaller than the inside of the top of the box. And I do have some ribbon. I had grosgrain, but I decided I would use this because this has a synthetic in it, so that I can use my lighter and melt the edges so that it doesn't. I'm just going to cut 2 pieces. That didn't come out very straight. There, that's better. I got my lighter. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to set it on fire, but you see how it's melting? Perfect. Looks like I need a new lighter soon too. Good enough. Okay. So I want to put these evenly. So let's say like 2 inches from the outside. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this on, making sure that the satiny part is up, and remembering that I need this to be, let's say 2.5 inches, because it needs to be glued into the back of the box. So I'm going to put the end at 2.5 inches. And I'm just going to tack it down with a little bit of this glue. Okay. Now we have a couple of options. This is the inside. I can cover this. Something's gone wrong here. That's 2. That's 2 inches. That's only 1.5 inches. I feel like I like 1.5 inches better, actually. Looks good. Now I can cover this with fabric so that it matches, or I can leave it blank. I have fabric, so I'm going to use it. I'm not going to make you watch me glue this. Okay, I've decided to add another ribbon that will sort of hang down the front of the box as like a little lift handle. But because it will be hanging out the other direction, I'm going to turn the ribbon over so the correct side is showing. And I do want it in the middle. So probably that's 4 inches, and this is 1, 2, 3. Wait a second. So it's 9.5. So I need the center to be 4 3/4. And it needs to be facing down. Good enough. And I don't want it too long, like maybe 2 inches. Okay. Now, I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of fabric glue, if I can. If I can get it running. Okay, there it goes. I have to be careful because the glue will come right through the ribbon. Just a minute. Let's add some more here. All right. I went ahead and covered this piece. Let's get some more glue stick on here. And then I'll go around the perimeter with fabric glue. And when I put it on, I don't want it centered. I want it towards the back where the hinges are. Looks good. Looks really good. The last step, I'm going to glue these hinges into the back of the box. And this will be the final. Might have to press that. I'm gonna take a hot iron to that and press it so that it'll flip down. Ugh, got a little bit of glue on there. Oh well, it's homemade. Okay, I'm gluing this ribbon. I also pressed the hinges because I thought, oh, that would help them to stay in the correct position. I'm just going to Scotch tape that. Now, I don't know if you can see or not. Let me bring the camera out of the cradle. But there is a little gap there, so don't push the ribbon or the top right down against the inside of the box. That's why I put the Scotch tape on the top just to hold it. And then when I flipped it over, I could have that little gap. Final finishing touch, I wrapped another piece of file folder, cut smaller than the bottom, wrapped it with fabric, and I've just glued that down. Let's turn our box over. That's what the front looks like. That's what the inside looks like. I think we have a success here. And I'm thinking of other things that I could do to change this up. So I was thinking maybe I would put ribbon coming out of either side and then coming up and tied in a bow on the top. That might be pretty. I was thinking it might be fun to add some buttons here. Maybe even buttons that I cut from the shirt. Or I was thinking I could put some big brads through the bottom to make it look like feet, you know. Yeah, little metal feet for the project. So I hope you thought this was kind of fun. What a nice way to wrap a gift using recycled materials. This entire project cost me $2. And just want to say, give it a shot. I have 2 more boxes this size, and I think I'm going to keep my eye open for similar fabrics so I can cover 2 more boxes and have them stacked. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how this all turned out. For today's giveaway, I have one of 2 shirts. These are both 100% cotton men's shirts, good quality fabric. This one is white and pink stripe, and this one is light purple check. Well, both of them are woven. They're not printed. They're woven. This one even has purple buttons. So if you want the purple one or the pink one, leave a comment below, or if you want half of each, I can do that too. And that way you'll have a big hunk of fabric to maybe cover a box or some other project that you want to work on. Especially with our minds turning to spring. If you're freezing like I am today in these Arctic temperatures. All right, you know what you got to do. Put a comment below, like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.